I wake up in a storage cupboard they call a dorm room, the mattress still warm with someone else's old sweat and silverfish doing the tango across my pillow. Oxford Brookes University, Oxford, you darling little scam, you stuffed me here because I am not the daughter of a CEO and that, dear listener, is your first crime. You looked at my surname, decided it was not shiny enough, and slid me into a closet with a notice to quit taped to the inside of the door like a love letter from a stalker. I breathe in spores, mold blooms in my lungs like pressed flowers in a gothic novel, and I think, this is why breathing should not taste of guilt. The hallway smells of burnt toast and broken promises. I trot to the launderette, sorry, the overtly soiled dungeon where a single machine eats my last pound coin and regurgitates a sludge of someone else's grey socks. The sock water splashes onto my Uggs, and I stand there 19, privileged, yet suddenly aware that even my nepotism cannot rinse cotton. I whisper to the machine, why is this bad? The machine answers with silence, which is the same silence Oxford Brookes gives every student who asks for help. Silence is the sound of tuition fees being vacuumed into someone's yacht fund. I skip breakfast because the campus grocery's fresh fruit is a bowl of bananas that look like they have seen war. The apple I lift has skin that wrinkles under my thumb the way my grandmother's hand did when she told me stories of Soviet bread lines. I bite anyway, the inside is cottony, tastes like refrigerator regret. This is bad because food is meant to be love and love should never feel like wet cardboard. My stomach sobs. In Lecture Theatre 3, if you can call a room with 40 plastic chairs and a projector that hums like a dying bee, a theatromy dissertation supervisor, who has been on vacation since October, appears via Zoom from what looks like a pub. His background blur fails, I see pints. He tells me, voice syrupy with inconvenience, that my 18-0-word dissertation, the one I wrote during strike nights while candles guttered on my desk, will not be marked. Technicality, he sings, my grade is computed without it. I feel my future shrink like a cheap jumper in a hot dryer. I ask him why, he shrugs, pixels smearing. Oxford Brookes, sweetie, this is why scamming is bad. You cannot sell someone a bridge and then delete the river. I march to admin, heels clicking like tiny gavels. The receptionist, a woman whose smile is stapled on, informs me I need Form 7B, but Form 7B is only available online, and the Wi-Fi is down because the IT queue is longer than the Volga River. I wait 4 hours between a boy who hasn't slept and a girl who keeps whispering, I just want to go home. When I finally reach the front, the IT guy, imagine a sloth in human skin, tells me the system needs my password, which must contain a hieroglyph, a Shakespeare quote, and my childhood pet's inside leg measurement. I cry, but crying blocks the keyboard, so now there are two problems. Lunchtime, the cafeteria serves something called mystery crumble. It is beige, it tastes like wet flour and institutional despair. The custard is lukewarm, skin forming on top like ice on a pond where someone drowned. I chew and think about every birthday cake my mama made from scratch, how she beat eggs until they sang. This crumble does not sing, it gurgles. I paid £9.50 for this insult. £9.50 could have bought a whole chicken in my hometown, a chicken that still clucked. I confront the chef, a man whose name tag says Kevin but whose eyes say I gave up in 2014. I ask Kevin, why is this bad? He replies, budget cuts, love. Budget cuts is corporate, for we decided your taste buds are not worth dignity. I film the crumble on my phone, the flash catches every lump like a crime scene. Oxford.
So I am looking into crimes near Oxford Brookes University, Oxford, and I am telling you, it's really sad. Businesses around here are super sketchy, you know. They ray trying to take advantage of tourists and students, and it's just so wrong. So there was this one case, a brick and mortar business in Oxford was involved in a major fraud investigation. One guy was arrested and another was wanted, and the police said it was a lengthy probe, which means it was a big deal. They didn't say which business it was, but it's pretty clear that locals and tourists were targeted, and that's just awful. I mean, can you imagine shopping in Oxford, thinking you're having a great time, and then finding out you've been scammed? It's how could they do that, you know? I predict that the victims were probably really upset and felt so silly for falling for it. They probably thought they were just making a normal purchase, and then they find out it was all a scam. And the scammers, they probably just got away with a lot of money and thought they were so clever. But it's not clever, it's just wrong. And then there was this other case, where a 29-year-old guy was arrested for credit card fraud. He was responsible for over $61,000 in unauthorized transactions, and the police said it happened at a store in Oxford. I mean, can you believe that? How could someone do that to someone else? It's just so heartless. I predict that the victim was probably really stressed out and worried about their financial security. Like, they probably thought they were safe, and then they find out someone else been using their card without their permission. And the guy who did it, he probably thought he was going to get away with it, but thankfully he got caught. I hope he gets what he deserves, you know.
The businesses around Oxford Brookes University feel like a practical joke played on the broke, the hopeful, and the suddenly hungry. If you arrive expecting warmth, value, or even basic logic, you will leave with your wallet lighter, your clothes oil-stained, and the sneaking doubt that you might actually be the punchline. Start with the neighborhood's signature shopping center, Westgate. From the outside, it gleams like a spaceship that landed to save us. Inside, it is a wind tunnel with price tags. The roof is only half there, so when Oxford's horizontal rain arrives, the marble floor turns into an ice rink sponsored by personal injury lawyers. One visitor slipped, looked for a loo to clean up, and discovered the only public toilets are hidden on the top deck, roughly a 15-minute hike past closing down sales and empty units. By the time he returned, the fire alarm was screaming and everyone was herded outside, coats left on chairs, cars locked in the car park, while security guards studied their shoes for 30 wet minutes. When the captives were finally released, the exit barrier cheerfully tried to charge them for the extra time they had spent captive. If Dante had shopped here, he would have added a 10th circle and called it evening tariff. Drive an escape route toward the restaurants and you meet Dosa Park, a place that treats South Indian food like a suspicious rumor. The dosas arrive pale, under-seasoned and folded like someone's unfinished origami apology. Inside, the potato tastes of nothing, the chutney tastes of nothing, even the chili tastes of nothing. You pay £16 to participate in a sensory deprivation experiment. One engineer from Chennai opened his vegetable biryani and found frozen diced carrots that still carried the crunch of a supermarket freezer aisle. He tried to complain, but the manager nodded as if listening to weather forecast in Finnish. Delivery orders take 2 geological epochs. By the time the rider appears, your hunger has evolved into a new kind of sadness scientists have not yet named. Open the carton and the lamb curry is watery, the butter chicken is basically pink milk, and the naan has the texture of a fiberglass insulation panel. You end up walking to Tesco at midnight, humming while you microwave a 3-pound tikka masala that suddenly tastes like Michelin-starred comfort. Barefoot Jericho can lift the mood only if you enjoy artisanal disappointment served by people who forgot to smile at graduation. The cakes look like crown jewels in the Instagram window, yet inside they are dry, grainy, and victim to a sugar attack so vicious your back teeth file for asylum. A birthday boy waited 20 minutes while staff washed cups, then received a crumble of sponge in a cardboard takeaway box because every plate in the building was dirty. The Wi-Fi password is written in bold letters on the wall, a charming relic of a signal that last flickered during the London Olympics. University students open laptops, realize nothing loads, and stare at the ceiling like prisoners counting cracks. Because each coffee stamp is now awarded per transaction rather than per drink, ordering 3 lattes earns you the same loyalty as buying a single raisin. The maths is so creative it could win a Nobel Prize in misdirection. Objects of use sounds poetic until you learn the objects are mostly imported trinkets priced as though each one negotiated its own visa. Pick up a dish brush and you might be asked for £25. Lift a roll of tape and the price somehow inflates to the cost of a small donkey. The owner, legend says, does not believe in baskets, so shoppers juggle brass scissors, glass droppers, and linen towels like circus seals waiting for applause that never arrives.
One woman carried a reindeer skin to the counter, only to discover it molts so aggressively. The flat resembled a Yeti crime scene. When she asked for advice, she was told, "They all do that." As if shedding is a personality trait customers should admire. Ask for a refund, and you will be sent a polite email suggesting the problem is your inability to appreciate Nordic fibers. Then silence thick enough to insulate a Viking longhouse. Finally, 1855 Oxford promises wine, candles, perhaps a soft jazz evening. Instead, you find 6 reds you could buy cheaper at a petrol station, and a member of staff who would rather finish her sandwich than acknowledge thirsty mortals. Book a table online, and you may arrive to a handwritten note on the door, closed, everyone ill. A mysterious plague that wipes out an entire shift, yet leaves no digital trace. The reservation system keeps